You're listening to the Brenton On Tour Quarantine Cast. So far, he's taught you about good coffee.
Damn, Jimmy, this some serious gourmet shit.
Good music.
I'm like this, and then that becomes your thing. Music just does that.
And the secrets to good travel.
Exits. Okay, there's one back here. And there's probably one over by the wing somewhere.
Now, thanks to COVID-19, he's here to make sure that you're all good during this time of social distancing and self-isolation. So sit back and enjoy as he broadcasts from any number of exotic locations like Costa del Balconia, La Isla del Garage, Playa del Living Room, and the always magical Puerto Backyarda. And don't worry, he's already had the coronavirus and beat it. Still, maybe keep a mask handy. Here's BD.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the Brenton Not On Tour Quarantine Cast. One of the last times I was on tour was with my very special guest today, Mr. Q from New York City. How are you, sir?
Yeah, how's it going, man?
I'm doing all right. You've made your return. You joined me for a cast during the music cast, and we talked about New York City,
yes,
old hip hop, stuff like that, and Q and I spent a lot of time last summer together out with Korn and Alice in Chains, and since it seems that we'll never ever tour again, this is how we're going to have to communicate in life now as it goes.
I hope not.
I know, it's kind of crazy, but what's shaking down there, man? How you doing? I wanted to get you on and talk about what's happening with Q in New York City and all that fun stuff. What are you doing right now?
Man, we've been in quarantine now. I think we're approaching 50 plus days. I've been abiding by the rules no matter all of the chaos that I see online. Everybody's posting some sort of angle of this is a lie, this is a lie, this is a lie. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm actually here in New York. I'm just going to put my mask on. I'm going to put my gloves on when I go outside. I'm going to spend most of my time indoors with my family and just tough it out. But it is pretty surreal. Every time that I've ventured outside, you go through so many different things, from emotions to just the surreal vibe that you get from I did this thing where last week I was getting a little bit of cabin fever.
Like you do, like we all do, like I am.
Yeah. And we just hopped in the car. And we weren't going to get out of the car, so we hopped in the car and we drove from Brooklyn to the Bronx in like record time, which normally could take from 40 minutes to an hour. Probably took me about 25 minutes. It was like clear, and we made a detour and we drove through Midtown Manhattan, which is one of the hardest places to drive through. I normally wouldn't even drive there with my car, and we drove right down Times Square, looking at everything, and,
wow.
and it was trippy because
it's like a zombie apocalypse. There. It's like a zombie apocalypse. It's like that Will Smith. What was that Will Smith movie? Right?
Legend.
I Am Legend or something. Yeah, people are rolling through there. That's weird. I was when I was quarantined up and isolated, kind of lying in my bed and going through the, recovery phase of my world. I was watching a lot of sort of New York reporting. I'm really fascinated by both the Comos there, as far as how they communicate more than anything, not even from a political side. I just enjoy how these guys communicate with people. And then I started watching the battle back and forth of Blasio and how he wanted to kind of roll out the reopening and Como. Yeah. So I want this podcast today. We talked a lot of music in the last one. If you guys want to review that, head back to the music cast, look for Q. Yes. We're talking old school hip hop in New York City, but this one I want to talk about the current state of New York City from the most New York City guy that I know. And have a bit of a chat about what your thoughts are about that city and how it's going to recover, because it's been pretty intense there. You guys have certainly had a lot of cases, a lot of deaths, and a lot of I'm finding out about this island where the misfit toys of dead people go to, which is crazy, and just the different things that are happening to happen. So what's the vibe right now in New York City from a New Yorker? What's the vibe? What's in your brain right now?
Well, the first thing I think of is how, unfortunately, the politics have played a little bit into our lifestyle, where you're starting to see a division of where I call them the rebellious type, where you got people walking around, no mask, no gloves, as if nothing's happening, and they don't believe it. And then you got somebody like me that I'd rather not risk it, and I'll follow the rules, because I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor. To me, those are the people you should be listening to. And I think what people take for granted is that when they watch the news and they see these other states trying to fight for whatever freedom they think they're losing, in those states, the separation between neighbor and space plays a big factor. Over here in New York, as you know, we live on top of each other. So that's why we got hit the hardest. We're a compressed city. So the first thing you notice when you go outside is just the rebellious types. There's just a group of people that don't seem to care what the rules are or seem to believe. And I find that unfortunate, because that to me, that stems from the politics that are going on right now. And I'm not digging that, you know?
Canada has its own thing. Like Toronto had a whole mess of cases, and same thing. They're on top of each other. Out in Vancouver, we have a little bit more of an opportunity to go out into the wild, go out into the mountains, into the ocean, and being able to go and see, nature and kind of get away from people. I can take my kids kayaking 2 kilometers or, a couple miles out into the ocean when the tide's out. Yeah. And there's no one around. So we have that opportunity that we've actually flattened, and they're loosening our restrictions a little bit out here, reopening public parks and stuff. We're not as on top of each other as you guys are in New York City.
Right.
So I feel like you guys are going to take it's going to take a little longer to kind of have those regulations kind of come about. How long can the city sustain itself, do you think, though? Under the current conditions? I mean, because New York's the most famous city in the world, man.
Yeah, I think it goes into the whole political thing. You know what? I kind of like, I was talking to Fieldy, and I was reminding him that, when 9/11 hit, it was kind of like almost there are similarities as far as you see people kind of like shut down for a second, and they're not sure what to make of what they just witnessed, and it's pretty surreal. And then the politics come and step in, and I remember like one of the speeches that George Bush had made back then, people need to go out shopping. And some people got it in their head that they needed to go out shopping. So it all depends on how we play it over here, as far as the people that are guiding the ship and what they're signaling people to get into. So I personally think something like this looks like it's going to take way longer than what people are alluding to, and I'm prepared for that. Part of me is prepared for it, because I don't want to see any more people die, unfortunately, from something like this. It's just I'm kind of scrambled, man. I was watching Chris Christie talking. He's over in Jersey, and his whole the headline or the footnote that they used was, well, people are going to die in order for us to get this right. And it's like, I get what he's saying. It's just not something that, it's not the way I would have put it.
There's certainly a difference in communication, because I don't think anyone disagrees with that statement. I mean, honestly, we've been educated enough that if you're older, if you have chest and respiratory issues, I have cardio and it bothered me. So if anyone is going to, we worked out together in Chicago. Yeah, it's all I have is cardio. I mean, there's no muscle there. It's just cardio. But if you struggle with this, then it's going to affect you. So it's interesting to me that you say that, because the difference in communication between like Chris and then Governor Cuomo and Bellagio and all these different people, how do you feel the regional leaders are doing?
I'm happy with the Cuomos. You know what? Growing up in Brooklyn, I understand all of them. I understand even when Trump talks, I get it all. because it's kind of like the original way we used to speak. It was very heavy-handed, very cut and dry and to the point. And obviously there's been this barrage of sensitivity hitting us as of late. So I'm kind of like caught in the middle of this tug of war between being sensitive to other people's feelings, but then when I listen to a Chris Christie or even a Cuomo at times or a Trump, and I hear how heavy-handed they are, I'm like, oh, it just sounds like my grandfather. You know, it's like I understand that level of communication. I get it.
I heard. Cuomo was on Stern a couple weeks ago, and Stern was kind of asking him about the relationship between him and Trump, and he's like, "We're New Yorkers, so sometimes we get along, and sometimes we're just gonna, I'm not gonna let him talk shit about me. I'm going to call him out and vice versa." So it's an adjustment that the world is still adjusting to as far as how people communicate. But it is interesting how Christie's communicating. Hey man, people are going to die. We're going to just kill them off. It's fine. Then you've got the other side, which is like, well, that might be true, but we're going to say it like this. And I wonder what people want to hear.
I know for me, like I said, I'm in this tug of war because there's this new level of sensitivity that, there was a time in my life where I spoke like a Chris Christie or a Trump. I spoke like that because that was my neighborhood. I'm from Bensonhurst and Gravesend, Brooklyn. Sammy the Bull owned the club, on my avenue. So it's like, I understand that level of communication. And for so long, like I said, my grandfather, my cousins, they all talk like that. So then in rolls this cloud of, you got to be sensitive. You can't say this. You can't say that. You can't joke with this. And so you're trying to follow the rules and you're trying to get rid of this old way of thinking and speaking. But then when something this serious hits, it's like you say, you kind of question, well, how do I want this kind of news? Do I want it flat out honest, or do I want it painted nicely so that I can relax and sip my chamomile tea as I'm getting my news? I don't.
Have you checked in on Brooklyn Joe? How's he doing?
You know what? He teeters between being a rebel and wanting to wear his mask and
how does it? The one first thing I thought of it, I was listening to Talking Sopranos yesterday. Talking Sopranos, David Chase wrote a bunch of new lines for all the characters around the COVID. So I don't know if you've talked to Brooklyn Joe lately, but is he giving you any winners through this process?
He's kind of pissed because all the cafes, he doesn't want to do the curbside pickup. He wants to be able to sit in the cafe, have a cup of espresso, read the paper, or watch the game. All of the shit that he's so accustomed to having, it's been pulled away. So he's kind of annoyed. He's like, how dare this virus disrespect my walk of life?
That's right. Because the virus is now,
it's not showing any sort of respect. Right.
If I can whack it, right.
Right. Somebody needs to figure out how we can whack this virus out.
Is there anything open in New York City? Like what is the base?
That's the new thing that I'm not used to. Another thing that happened was yesterday, again, we hopped in the car and it was 8:00 at night and everything was closed. And for me, that's mind blowing. It's like,
in New York.
Whoa.
Yeah. Or anywhere.
This is wrong. But
yeah.
For me, that's wrong. Like I've been to places like when I go to Southern California, there's certain places that close really early. I'm from a place where nothing closes. So it's like, for me, it's like, wait a minute. What do you mean I can't, go to this place after 10? That doesn't make sense to me. It's
right.
Like, and then you're teetering between fear, the fear mongering. I think it's fear mongering. So when I see a convenience store open, I'm kind of like in a place where I'm like, do I want to go in there? Is it safe to buy something? Do I have to spray it with Lysol? It's like, what are the steps I have to take? I just want to get myself something, but I don't know, what's the procedure? It's not like I don't know. It's just like, you're thinking like 7-Eleven is open. And yesterday we're driving by and 7-Eleven was open and the door was wide open. And I'm like, sure. But do I want to get, let's say I want to buy an iced coffee. do I have to wipe it down before I bring it in my car? Like this sounds like too much of a procedure for me.
It's a bit of a process. It's a, everyone's kind of, we're sort of just doing, we go shopping for groceries,
right?
But it's a lot of outdoor stuff. There's no, it's really just get what you need and get out.
Right.
Which I think, it's teaching the world, the 9-hour mall visit might be gone now.
Yeah. Are you going to see, I think, and that's the other thing is that I want people to get out of their thoughts that we're going to return back. This is my opinion. And this is from somebody who's been in New York during 9/11. And I bring up 9/11 because when all was said and done and the dust settled, it changed everything. It changed how we traveled. It changed how we got on the train. You started seeing armed military people on the train. That was new. And now it's common. We're talking over a decade after, and now it's a common thing where, traveling is not the same. And we kind of like put certain people in a basket of suspicion.
Yeah.
So now it's the same thing. It's like, I personally don't think that this virus is going to end and we're going to just go right back to like being arm over arm with each other. I think certain people, like I said, we have these rebels that kind of don't see it. And then there's somebody like me that's kind of like more cautious, where I'm like, I don't know if I want to go to a public gathering in New York City and be surrounded by people in order to see a concert. I don't know if I'm ready for that mentally.
I know. It's definitely a break. We're all standing by to figure out what that's going to look like, me especially. So I could be cutting grass this summer and the fall and the spring. And, who knows how that's going to go. Good thing I cooked and I can maybe fall back to that. But then who's eating at restaurants?
Right,
anyways,
exactly.
You keep busy. You're creating, you're writing music right now. Tell us about the band, buddy. What's you must be banging out some new stuff about that. Anyways.
Yeah. That's been, one thing that I do when I get on live feeds. I think that one thing that's therapeutic into the point of almost spirituality is I think that everyone should stay creative, no matter what you're talking about, whether it's writing a small play or painting or drawing or making music, writing poetry. Do something that's creative, because as Rakim put it in his new book, that's when you get into this place, whether you believe or not, but you get into this place of God consciousness. It's Quincy Jones used to say, when a good song was getting done, God was in the room. So to me, whatever your walk is, whether it's believing in a God or a supreme being or some sort of force or entity, you get into that realm because you're pulling something out of nothing, which leads to, for me personally, I've been playing a grip of guitar. I just got into film editing. So we did this thing for King's Bounty where we covered a song, and we myself and the guitar player, he filmed on his roof. I filmed on my roof. He emailed me his parts. I opened up the Premiere film editing program and I put it all together. We'll be releasing that soon. And I've been staying super creative, writing new songs for King's Bounty, getting stuff ready for StillWell, and another project I'm working on called Rodimus, which is more metal based. Been just staying focused. Music is my thing. So even though Fieldy has pushed me from time to time to paint, and I've done that with him, and I'm done it at home, not as much as he does, because I'm more of a music guy. I like to pick up the guitar and just disappear into that realm of God consciousness. So that's
and everyone listening that's just tuning in for the first time, Fieldy, of course, bass player from Korn.
Yes.
Who we spent all time and is great friends with Q. Didn't they hit the jackpot? And I mean this in a polite way, but releasing, getting the tour out, getting another tour out, and then the shutdown. Because a lot of albums have got released and then bands can't tour behind it and everything. And they put out a great record, so people had a chance to see it. And they're and obviously some things got canceled this summer with them. But
we were supposed to go out in the summer. I
was trying to get on that, so we'll see if it comes back around. Yeah. We may see me again. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And they were supposed to prep for the fall with Faith No More.
I know.
Not
that
sure
was going to be great.
I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen some interesting things. Somebody did like some drive-in concert. Like, I don't know if that's the same.
I don't think that works for Korn, but we'll see. Maybe if Fieldy comes and plays bass on top of your car or something. We'll see.
It's like, I don't know. Somebody showed a mosh pit and you see all the cars like crash into each other.
I was gonna say, you do those cars with the, with the suspension, so they only let those cars in.
Right.
Everyone's
Lowriders.
That's right. Awesome, buddy. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. I really, I love your city. I really want it to get better. I really want it to come out of it. I know New Yorkers always come out of this thing, and it will. As I said, I'm a huge fan of your guy down there. Do you think this guy runs in 24? Do you think he runs?
I would love for it. You know what? He was somebody I wasn't paying attention to. He was kind of like an automatic pilot.
Como,
yeah. Now I'm watching him. I like the way he talks. I like his no nonsense way, and I like that. Excuse me. I like that when he doesn't. He's not mincing words. He's not selling hope. That's what I thought was dangerous with some of these politicians, was that they were, in the beginning, they were like, oh, we should have this done in a week and a half. And you're like, whoa, don't do that. Don't do that, man. That's not cool, because then some people are too simple for that. And they just think that, and then they start to panic when they don't see results. It's best to be like a Cuomo, where he's like, hey man, I don't know. This could go on, like when you study history, this could go on for over a year. I saw a musician, there's a rap group, a legendary rap group called the Brand Nubians. And they were signed to Elektra back in the day. They're a big rap group. And one of the members, his name is Sadat X, and he had said, if you think that something like this is gonna last for weeks, he was like, just as a musician, just the way the system works, this is going to run for about a year before we can actually figure this thing out. There's so many moving parts and components that it's not something you could just flip the switch and we're all automatically all on planes on tour. It's not that cut and dry. And I agree with him. There's just way too many moving parts. I'm not being pessimistic. I just want to be realistic about the whole thing. It's this, this is not easy.
No,
we're dealing with something we don't know, and so you got to be patient. You can't rush with something you don't know. And then you start to think of people talking about how it's mutating, and that in itself is scary. What does that mean? It's going to turn into something like. So,
well, hopefully it doesn't have. I want to see what New York City looks like when it all. When it's all said and done, and we'll have you back on when that all goes down and you're able to go to your favorite coffee joint that we went to and some of those things. And maybe I'll actually get to New York City again one day when we get touring again and we can do it in person again. But
Yes.
All right, man. Where can everybody find you online, sir?
Oh, just hit up for Instagram at Mr. MR_Q_unique. Or just go to kingsbountyband.com. Or, that's pretty much it. Those two handles right there, you'll be able to, connect the dots and find me everywhere else, man.
Say hi to Brooklyn Joe for me. Tell him he can keep the $10. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't think he was going to pay you back anytime soon.
Well, he's got that old Chevy Nova. He said that's all he needed for gas. So I just, it's like, all right, here's the $10 for the gas. He's like, it's fine.
$10 in a Chevy Nova, he ain't getting too far.
It's all good. Appreciate it, brother. Be well. Be safe.
Thanks, bro.
I love New York City, and everyone that I know there is amazing and great. So be well, my friend.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Much love to you and your family, man. Good to see you. Take it easy.